Welcome to Cosmic Compass, the leading locational astrology podcast. And I'm so excited because today Shawna Lumm is here on the show. And Shauna is someone that I found thanks to the trusty algorithm on Instagram, I think a year ago. And she has inspired me so much with how she does content, her reels. She's a kindred spirit. We were just talking about this on the show. Got similar energy and just her bravery, her confidence. I can't wait for you to meet her. Shauna, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And honestly, ditto. I feel like we have the same vibe, and it's so nice to find other people that are you're also just doing your thing out there, carefree, not caring what people think. And I think that's the goal to living your life to the fullest is being in your truth, honoring what helping others and honoring what you really want to do and going for it. So I've seen that in you too. So I appreciate that.
You're such an expander for me. I remember a year ago, I started talking more openly about, if you want to leave the United States, you should, because the US is going to be going through stuff with the astrology coming up. And I remember in the beginning, I was afraid to talk about that because I knew that for years, but I was afraid to fear monger or put my thoughts on the internet. And I remember finding your content and seeing you just openly, brazenly talking about you want to get a college degree, you want to get universal health care, all these things. And I was like, gosh, she is so inspiring. And so it's just so cool how I feel like fate, the universe brought us in contact and now we're here and talking. So what an honor it is to have you on the show. How did you get to where you are? What do you do now? And how did you get to this point?
It's kind of a crazy long story, but I'll make it short. Okay. I'm from Los Angeles and I really didn't like living in LA. I'm very grateful for my upbringing and I had great parents, but it was very cliquey. I always kind of felt like I didn't belong. I was always very social and I wasn't the type that was these are my friends and these are not. I was always kind of that inclusive. If I saw somebody being bullied, I would go up to them and befriend them. You know what I mean? I'm always felt like I was the person that was supposed to help bring people together. And so high school was really hard for me in LA. It's very, like I said, cliquey. It was all about what kind of jeans you were wearing, True Religion jeans, they would judge you. So I was really off put and my soul was just really sad about this. And I knew from 13 to 16, I was I shouldn't be here. Right. And I knew I wanted to leave California. Now I always loved traveling because my family, we would travel to Mexico or we'd go to the Bahamas or whatever. And I always liked that adventure. And so I got out of California. I went to school at Washington State University, played D1 volleyball. And so thank God I had a scholarship. My parents didn't have money to pay for my college. So, but I still kind of found it was a little bit better, Washington State, but I still felt this general societal, pressure, intensity, just people were trying to be things that they weren't, right? Not their true selves. And I think what did it was my final semester of college after volleyball was done. I was I'm going to study abroad. I knew I wanted to study abroad since I started college. So I studied abroad in Bilbao, Spain. That's in the north, very beautiful, green, kind of Irish coast or the southern part of England. It's so beautiful, cliffs. That did it for me. It was that 6 months going to explore. And I know a lot of you are probably listening, how am I going to do this? Just going a month to this place might even do just go abroad to a place that you've really wanted to go to might do it for you. 6 months, I obviously recommend because you really get into the culture and experience all the feelings. But then I had to come back and work corporate because, end of college, had a contract, did that for a year and a half. And I was this is not it. I was making good money right out of college. Everybody was just thinking about saving up, buying houses, buying fancy cars. And I was there's so much life to be lived in Europe. I just was had such a great social life, the community, walking around everywhere. Everything's so affordable. I want to go back to that. I felt this like sense of freedom in Europe that I didn't in the US, which is ironic because the US is like the land of the free, right?
Yeah.
In some senses, yes, the US, and I'm not saying the US is not like a great place to live for some people. It's great in some aspects, like making your own business, opportunities, you know, there are more jobs available sometimes in different parts of the country than like other places in the world. But on a spiritual level, I was like, Europe is where I feel free. And every time I came back to the US, I just kind of this look I have, like kind of squinting my eyes, like pondering, what are people thinking? Like they're getting so worked up from somebody cutting them off or just things not being quick enough. And I just felt so much more peaceful and my nervous system was better in Europe. So then I moved back, but this time to Barcelona because I wanted to be in an international place because I knew I wanted to start a business. My pathway was a student visa, but there's now so many visas for you guys, which I think we're going to talk about later. But back in 2016, there weren't that many options. So my way out was a master's program and it was super cheap, 4,500 euros for the whole year. I did entrepreneurship and innovation in Barcelona at a private business school. From there, I got a paid internship that paid me very, very well in like a marketing role. And it was all in Spanish. I became fluent. Yes, you can become fluent as an adult. Don't let anybody tell you any different. I met my husband, Dan. He's British and Spanish. We got married like 4 years ago, but I met him only a year in. And then the other things I was able to create by moving to Barcelona was I started my web design agency. I started doing before that, I started doing all these side hustles, which you will find that a lot of Americans do because we have this vibe about us, which I'm very grateful for, that we are hard workers, we're clever, we're very solution oriented, and we never settle. So I think that goes to our advantage when we move abroad because we're like, oh my gosh, what else can I do to make more money? And so that kind of started working for me. I started coaching beach volleyball on the beach, teaching English, private classes, just a couple hours, like Monday through Thursday. And I was making a lot more money with that than managing social media accounts. Then I started my web design agency. You making money with American clients and living abroad, that is the goal. Like, because you can just live so abundantly if you do that. Then neck injury happens, fell on my head doing a handstand push-up at CrossFit. Okay. And my life changed. I had to realize like I can't work for anybody anymore. So I had to quit that job I had with my boss and figure out how to do web design. And that's when I started that web design agency. And then let's fast forward. Dad gets really, really sick with stage 4 lung cancer in 2021. So Shauna has to fly back to take care of him. And then a month later, he passes away. And I had to deal with all of that. Not only grief, but he didn't have his affairs set up. So I've kind of been through the ringer. And that's why Dan and I decided to get married too, was because, you know, life kind of puts itself, life and death comes in flashes in front of your face. And we said, what are we doing? Let's get married. We've been talking about this. So basically that opened up my eyes to see, I want to help Americans do this. So that's when I started moveoverseasnow.com. It was really the catapult from this very traumatic incident with like my dad passing away and being like, what am I waiting for? Like, why am I waiting to like help people when I could let me just throw myself out there? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, you know, I didn't know as much about Instagram back then, but little by little you learn. And yeah, that's how we're here.
Wow. That innovative entrepreneurial mindset, you know, of how can we make this work? How can I make my life better? And then from those tools and things that I've learned, how can I help other people to do similar things? That is
Yes.
incredible that you built this. And I just want to say for your astrocartography, for any of you listening that, want to know the details of Shauna's story. So in Bilbao, Spain, you have a Pluto node line going right through Bilbao, which is about a transformational experience that you have that makes you psychologically see the world and life in a completely different way. So that yeah. And the nodes of fate, I call them the nodes of fate, but they can represent like just kind of a destiny line or a place of significance, a turning point. And Pluto is transformation, letting go, seeing life differently. It's a complete identity shift. So that was going right through Bilbao. But then just a little bit north of Bilbao, which is still within orb of the story there, you have a sun Mercury parent, which is all about education and college and university and studying. Sun Mercury is literally you going to school and learning a skill or a tool or studying something. And then the whole background of this, of Spain, is that you have a Jupiter and a moon astrocartography lines, which are home places, especially the moon ascendant. It's a home location. Like my clients, they always say, I found home. I felt home when I moved here. And you have that really, really close to Western Spain more. So like Salamanca, Sevilla. It's like I wouldn't recommend Sevilla, the south, as much, but like that direction of Western Spain, you have so much that home story. And then the Jupiter ascendant line, which is confidence, magnetism, success, innovative, entrepreneurial thinking. It's like, I call it the world is your oyster. Nothing can get you down kind of energy. It's so magnetic and successful. So it's like you've got all this magical energy in Spain, plus Mars on the midheaven, which is literally you starting your own business. That's literally Mars on the midheaven. And then you go over to Barcelona and you've got Venus setting. And Venus on the descendant is a love location. It's where is your partner from? Where do you find love? Where is your where do you meet your partner in the world? It's called the honeymooners line in astrocartography. And it's always a place I recommend for people who want to like go on a trip. So I recommend you and your partner go to Monaco or Nice. Those are other nice places for you. You could also, I think you would also love Genoa, Italy, Bologna, Italy, Milan, Italy, and then Lugano and Lake Como. You have that
we
love
just were
line.
there.
Oh, did you love it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Jupiter moon, which is like happiness going right through Genoa, Parma, and Bologna, but it's close enough to Lugano. And then the love line, the relationship line, the honeymooners line, it's going right through Lake Como. So just some cool like destinations for you. Now you do have a Uranus IC line in Barcelona, which is a feeling like your living situation may change a lot, or you have to go back and forth, or you have to move apartments, or there's something about the home life that can feel a little bit unsettled at times, whether it's your parents or your home itself. Have you changed residences a lot in Barcelona, or have you just noticed like your parents, your family dynamic has gone through a lot of ups and downs at all?
Yes, we've changed. Me living in Barcelona since 2016. I've lived, first I was in Sants, then I was in Polenau, then I was in this other area close to Sants again. Then I was in Poble Sec. And then I moved to Sabadell with my husband, Dan. And I've lived in Sabadell ever since. So 5 places in Barcelona since 2016.
Yeah, that's Uranus on the home point. And the home point is like your relationship to living situation. And Uranus is like change, moving, freedom, residencies changing. But you do have the Neptune IC there close by, which is like this land is so spiritually connecting to you. Like, I don't, it could be, if you believe in past lives or that sort of thing, it's definitely a past lifeline, or just feeling like a spiritual, peaceful connection to a culture. So that's very close to Barcelona too. You got so much going on there. So just really cool for any of you guys listening that, wanted to know about her lines and what she's got in Spain. What a story. You have so much happening. You got love lines, home lines, career entrepreneurship line, and the success line. So it's just a lot.
Question.
Yeah.
Well, actually comment the spiritual connecting to you when you said that, the Neptune one.
Yeah.
I feel so connected to this Barcelona area because of the nature. So I'll tell you, in the morning, I go for a walk in the forest near my house and I do this whole like meditation routine. and it's like there's never anybody there. It's like the universe is like making sure there's never anybody there. So I have complete peace and quiet.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I love that. It's
That's interesting.
And
That you're
also, yeah, that's really beautiful. And then also, let me pull up the relocation chart for Spain as well. But in Barcelona too, you have a moon node pairing, which is a latitude line, and it's going right there in Barcelona. And the moon node is a place of home. It's a place of like found my roots, found my place, community. It's like it's a home place. Yeah, I'm just looking at your relocation chart. Yeah, what a beautiful chart.
That's been kind of difficult for my husband and I because of everything that happened with my dad. I have to be a little bit flexible. And my stepdad was just in the hospital for 10 days. So I was out in LA helping and taking care of him. So yes, I like the flexibility of being able to like drop anything when I need to. But I'm curious because, we want to create an eco village and do some like prefabricated bungalows and kind of have like a retreat space for people. And we're trying to think about where to do this. And now we've thrown around the south of Spain because that's where my husband is from. But like, honestly, I love Barcelona so much and this region of Catalonia that I'm starting to think maybe I should do it in Catalonia. How would one decide where the best place is to do this project? Because it's cheaper in the south of Spain. But then again, I'll be away from the community, all my wonderful like vegan places that I love to eat at. I'm sure a lot of people have projects too. I've heard a lot of people wanting to do, farms or living off the land. And, how does one decide where to do this?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Chiron in the 11th, which I love for healing community, connecting people together. It's like you're a teacher or a guide for community and bringing people in a group-like setting. So that retreat story is in Spain. The places that really stick out are Cartagena and Murcia, which is in the southern part of Spain on the coast there. You have a Chiron local space line going right through those places, which is about that story of healing community, service, like slow, quiet, internal retreat space. I just wouldn't recommend Malaga, Gibraltar, down south in Almeria, the Sevilla area, going more south that direction. It's a little bit more, can be more challenges or obstacles or just like a lot of work and pressure on your shoulders of work you have to do. Barcelona, though, if you were to do Barcelona, I like Barcelona. I would just go a tiny bit north of Barcelona where you're thinking is the space, would that be north or south of Barcelona?
Yes, I was thinking north. Yes.
Perfect. I love that because that's the moon node, which this is a place I always see when clients go on retreats. They go on a spiritual meditation retreat or they connect with community and like-minded kindred spirits. That's the moon node. And that's just slightly north of Barcelona. And specific places, just kind of looking at the midpoints here. I mean, you could do, anywhere north of Barcelona, very close is nice. Let me see if I can add in the aspects too. Yeah, nothing. I would say going closer to Lydia or Zaragoza, going more west toward that area, you have that peaceful, spiritual, calming energy of that Neptune IC line going right through there.
So it's saying interior.
Yes, going inland. Or if you wanted to stay, closer to the coastline, just go north of Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go as far as Girona. So south of Girona, north of Barcelona.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of this information.
Of course. So happy to help you.
Anyway, so it's just crazy that you're saying all of this and it's exactly what I wanted to do anyways.
And like, girl, oh my God, you are living your natal promise. And the natal promise is the idea that when you were born in your birth chart, it shows your whole story of your life, not just your personality or who you are, but it shows your life story in like a glance of a blueprint of your life. And your career point, your midheaven, is in the 9th house of travel, foreign affairs, being overseas. The 9th house deals with visas, foreign passports, and paperwork.
What?
And that's where your career point is, in the 9th house. Your sun, your Pisces sun and Pisces Mercury is right on your career point. So it's like you are meant to shine. You're meant to be a leader in this life and to help others through your gifts of communication. And
Mm-hmm.
then adding even more details to this, the ruler of your career, which is kind of showing you more detail about what your career is about. The ruler, Pisces, midheaven in the ninth, is Jupiter, the planet in the fourth house of home. So you're literally meant to help people find home and
Wow.
find like where they belong in the world, and like where do people feel like they can settle and plant roots and all of that. So it's like you are literally living your birth chart in
Wow.
such cool ways. So what are the things that you offer and that you do? How do you help people move abroad?
Yeah. So basically, like I wanted to have, I wish I could have had something like this. That's why I created it. I had to learn everything on my own. And so it's basically from A to Z, everything from moving abroad. I basically help Americans permanently relocate to Europe. That's my main focus, but also Latin America. I do cover Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, and Colombia. So those are also in my program, but my main focus is Europe because obviously I'm obsessed. As I'm sure a lot of you who are listening, there's that charm, right? But yeah, so basically I have a thing called the Move Overseas Now Academy, and it's a blend of a course and coaching. And pretty much what I realized was a lot of people are so scared to do this on their own because I did this by myself. But I've had a lot of experience in my life having to do things by myself because I'm an only child. I had to really put myself out there to get a scholarship. I've played volleyball at a competitive level, so I always had the pressure on me. So I feel like, you know what they say about athletes, like we are just like primed for like that adrenaline and to kind of like push ourselves. And, not everybody can do that or put themselves in the fear and just be like, I'm just going to be super uncomfortable and just do this. It's very, very uncomfortable. So my reason why I started this was because I know how uncomfortable it can be, and really just having the support of like, how do you do everything from literally how do we get organized firstly? And then secondly, getting a vision and painting the vision that we want for our life. It's got to start with the mind. Like if y'all have not figured out what kind of life you want to live, like we do that first. And then we kind of like paint it all out. You really need to see it. You need to feel it. You need to put it everywhere. You need to write affirmations. I don't like the word need. I should change it to get. You get to write affirmations on your wall. Maybe you have it next to your bedside table. Do a vision board. Like really go all in, because the more that you see it, the more that you think it, you're going to believe it, because that's how it works. Thoughts, beliefs, habits, behavior, personality. That's how it goes. So that's where we start. Then once they finish that module, we move on to now, how do you actually relocate and be legal, right? I always tell people to start with citizenship by descent. Now, we were just talking about this before, Helena, so we're going to talk later. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of these EU countries, and I'm going to speak about the EU because that's my favorite, they have options for you to get citizenship through your ancestors. So this is a parent, grandparent, or great-grandparent. Now, you need to look up, which ones actually allow great-grandparents, because some of them are being stripped away. Like Italy just took away the great-grandparent, but they were accepting great-grandparents before. But ones that do accept great-grandparents are Czech Republic, Poland, Greece, which you have this ancestry from, which we're going to work on.
I'm going to work with you to get this.
Yeah. The other thing is like, you don't have to do it you can do it on your own, which is what I recommend, but you don't have to hire a lawyer. That's the other thing, is like one of the reasons why I created my programs was because I was seeing how much like lawyers were charging for like things that you can do on your own through the consulate. Okay. Like the consulate for my citizenship by descent, I just submitted it like a couple months ago through my grandfather, through the Czech Republic, and he's deceased. So if you have ancestors that were born there, that are deceased, you can still do it. It was like maybe total for the whole process, anywhere between $400 and $500. That's collecting all the documents I had to getting copies, apostilles, like official translations, but that's nothing compared to what the lawyers are going to charge. They charge like $4,500 to $18,000. And so my whole thing is to like save y'all a whole bunch of time, save you money, because you can do it all on your own. Okay. So check citizenship by descent first, because if you have your citizenship, you can process the application through a consulate. They will tell you even if you qualify or not, if you have all the details, when they were born, when did they immigrate to the US, when did they renounce their home country citizenship. That's an important date that you have to know as well. Then you can go to the consulate, email them and be like, hey, I need to know if I qualify. So we can chat about that offline if you guys have questions. But then, so you will get unlimited, you can live in any of the 27 EU countries with an EU passport from any country. You can live anywhere. So that means you have a right to work. You can utilize the, I say quote unquote, free education system. Obviously you pay taxes, but it's still a fraction of what you would be paying in the US. And then you can obviously have public health care. So these are all the benefits. And then you don't ever have to go to the next step, which is visas. So if you see you qualify for that, amazing, move to Europe right away. But if you don't qualify for that, get a visa. Now you need to know which visas you qualify for. I focus primarily on 10 different countries with like 4 visas in each. And it's important to know. So as you're going through like my program, there's also a coaching aspect. So like we would be chatting like, hey, I'm making 2,400 euro like dollars from this one client. But I don't know which ones I can qualify for. I know about all the digital nomad visas in all these countries. So I could tell you if you're making $2,400 because you're just starting out, you would be able to qualify for the Italian digital nomad visa, but you wouldn't qualify for Spain because they require 2,700 euros. And Portugal, you wouldn't qualify either because it's 3,480, which is kind of steep, especially for people that are just starting out. But Italy has a really easy pathway in. So that might be the option for you. You really have to look at the whole picture. Like, it's not just, oh my God, I traveled to Italy. It was so beautiful. Like, now I want to move there. You have to see if the visas are going to fit your, well, first of all, your finances is the first one, your lifestyle, and does it have the things that you really like? So we kind of move through all of that. We do budgeting as well. So like, where are you at right now? And then how much are things going to cost? Because after you go through all the visa, literally all the countries, and look at the visa modules I have that are like step by step, and I have different guides, you can then decide, but you can't decide before knowing if you qualify for a visa or not. A really big misconception too is that for passive income, so retirees, I have a lot of retirees, not just remote workers. And I have people that aren't retirees, but a lot of people think the passive income visas, which is a really good route into Europe, which gives you permanent residency and later citizenship, but not all the countries. You have to make sure you know which ones are going to get me citizenship at the end, because there are some that are not a pathway. So that's another important thing to note. Like Malta digital nomad visa, actually they will kick you out after renewing twice. So you know, if you really wanted to get EU citizenship, like that wouldn't be a good choice. But like other countries that won't do it either, like in France, the long stay visa, which a lot of retirees do, is not a pathway to citizenship either, but it's permanent residency forever. So if people are okay with that, like you can do the long stay visa, but because they're not allowed to work, they can never become a citizen. So it's like, you kind of have to know these little ins and outs. But the passive income visa, the top one that I like to send people to that are like, immediately I want to get out of the US or whatever country you're in, is the Spain non-lucrative visa, because they take savings. It's like the only one that takes savings, and it's not truly passive income. So some people do use like Social Security, and they could qualify for it, but all you need for the Spain one, if you don't have passive income, and that's like, you know, maybe you had stocks, bonds, like dividends, like investment accounts that are making money, these types of things, pension, social security. That's what passive income is for all these countries. But Spain, if you just have a bank account, which is now it's 28,800 euros, convert that to USD because also the dollar is changing, y'all. Like if y'all want to move abroad, if you had a savings that was just making it like 2 months ago, you wouldn't qualify today because it's changing that fast. Like the country is tanking that much. It's the dollar, I mean. So now it's kind of like $35,000. If you have that in a savings, you can go to Spain on the non-lucrative visa. And that is a pathway to permanent residency and citizenship. So that's like the top one.
Is this like making that much every month, or is it just having that money in a bank account?
It's just having that money in a bank account. Yep. So
that is crazy.
The making the money every month, that would be if you're like remote working and you have consistent recurring income from clients. If that's your case, then you would be going digital nomad visa. But if you were like, oh my gosh, I'm just so burnt out from this corporate job, I have a pretty good cushion of savings, I know I want to start this business. What a lot of people do is they get this non-lucrative visa and then they work on getting clients during that year that they're in Spain on that visa. And then they can pivot at the end of year one. They can either pivot to the digital nomad visa while in Spain, or they can get hired at a company. It's like getting a work permit. And now it's a lot easier to get hired at companies in Spain, even if you speak English. Or you can create your own business, which is called autonomo. And I noticed that other countries don't have the same ease of like shifting the visa after that first year, but Spain has that ability. And for those that don't have the 35K in savings, then a student visa would be a good option. And you can pivot from a student visa to, again, get hired from a company or to be a self-employed. I'm speaking specifically about Spain right now because they do have this option where a lot of the other student visas, it's not as easy to pivot after year one. But the student visas across Europe do have the easiest pathway to entry because they only require a savings of like approx 10K. So it's really important to know your guys' finances because then you could be like, okay, I've got only 15K in savings. All right, I'm not going to qualify for any of the passive income visas, but I can qualify for the student visas. And that's what I did. And now it's just so much easier after you. And these are like, you don't have to be a 20 or 30-year-old to go study. There's no age cap. So you can do a language course. In Italy, a lot of people do that. You can do a language course. You can do a master's of something you've always wanted to do, like marketing, or I'm sure they even have, what is it called? Like ceramics, like a master at an art school. It just has to be approved by the Spanish government. And I would suggest doing more of the master, bachelor, doctorate route because then you can do those pivots. If you do a language one, you can't do those pivots. So it's really important to like stay updated with everything that's going on. And that's kind of why I'm here, is just to kind of like update you guys because like it's annoying to update my guides. I will be completely honest. My goal is to like help you guys the best as possible. But the reason why I'm doing all this is because the life that you will have abroad, and Helena knows she's in Copenhagen right now, like just because she can, because she lives in France. It's just so much freer. And I want everybody to have this experience. So if this is something you guys really want to do, like, please do it. I even have a free masterclass where I show you guys exactly, I go into way more detail on all the visas. And I run that like, I don't know, every couple months, but you should definitely sign up for the next one. And we will dive in. I do live Q&A as well. So I'll give you the link for that. So you can follow.
Oh, I'm so excited for them to join that masterclass because, you know, when I was living in the US, I just knew that life could be different. I was, I grew up an only child like you, single parent. My mom raised me. My dad wasn't really there. I left at 18 to move to New York to become an actress. And I
Wow.
got pretty much a full ride in scholarships the first year because I worked my butt off all of high school just to get to New York. But my
Wow.
mom couldn't help me. No one could help me financially. And so I went to school in New York. I ended up having, because it was like 60K a year for the dorms too, I ended up having like $15,000 in student debt. So what happened was like I moved there, had no help, got into cater waitering and hostessing immediately so I could make some money in
Right.
school. Some of you guys know this is a little bit maybe TMI, but I'm very open and I've talked about this on YouTube a million times. But I donated my eggs twice when I
Wow.
was 19 years old so that I could pay off that student debt because I knew I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be an actress. Like, I can't have this debt hanging over my head if I want to do these things because it's always going to be in the background, you know? So I did that when I was 19, got the student debt away. And
Wow.
then when I was 22, my husband, I had met my boyfriend there. My husband and I, we moved to Virginia, a small town. And on my birthday, I was like, honey, we have been hustling every year, me working minimum wage jobs, trying to make ends meet to pay rent. He got in a bike accident, couldn't healthcare coverage. I got my hand scratched by a cat and it got so infected. I couldn't afford the bill from the walk-in clinic, even though I had health insurance. But it's like the cost of living, rent, healthcare. God forbid if I got in an accident on my bicycle and I couldn't
Right.
afford an ambulance because it was all, I was working waitressing, working minimum wage jobs. Like I couldn't afford an ambulance bill.
Of
And I remember
course.
I turned to my husband. I was like, let's move abroad. Let's GTFO. And this was back in 2017. So my husband, an English teacher, he started applying for all these jobs, teaching English in Europe, all over the world. And
Wow.
my goal was like, okay, a year from now, we're going to get to Europe. We're going to get somewhere. And my pathway, my objective that year was to look for a bachelor's degree program in Germany, Norway. I found a bunch of them in Germany that were English taught. And like
Yes.
tuition was like practically free. And I
It
was
was
like,
like what, 500 euros a year, right? Something like that.
yes. And
Yeah.
it's like, how come no one told me about this when I was 17 years old? Like, I wouldn't have had to go through that whole story of like just getting to New York, having to go through all that struggle if I had known about college degree programs in Europe and how affordable they are. And
Yes.
that's my plan. I've got like a whole vision of like, I want to go back to school and get my degree someday. Like,
Wow.
I built a successful business and I love it. It's like my world, my passion, my everything, but I love school and I love learning. And if I could have afforded that, I would have gone to school. And so
Wow.
like just talking to you, like seeing your content online about how like, why are people looking at these college programs even if you're an adult? Like, I want to go back to school in my 40s and get a degree, you know? There's no time limit on
Right.
like when you could go back to school. And so I'm just sharing all my story because kind
That's
of to
so
share
cool.
like,
Your story is so interesting, and I feel like I can totally relate to it.
yeah. And it's like my husband and I, we made it happen because it all started from this idea of like, life doesn't have to be this hard, you
Right.
know? Like
We
there
think
doesn't have to
that like
be.
we're just a conditioned, as Americans that like this is normal, right? Just deal with it. But no, it's like there's solutions. And what do you think, Helena, about people that are, I've gotten some crazy comments on my reels about like, you're just escaping. Like, I even had an uncle. He would comment when I would visit back home, you're just escaping reality. What do you have to say about that?
God, I hate that so much. I
Have you
hate
had
it.
that or like,
I get it all the time. And I'm so glad
yeah,
you're bringing this up because I feel so alone sometimes in this journey of talking about moving abroad
yeah,
because people will say, you're running away. You should fight for democracy, fight for your home country. You shouldn't
right?
be running. And it's like, I'm not running away. I'm creating a better life for me and my family. I'm creating peace of mind. I'm creating a future, like a foundational future that will support me in my old age. Like, what are
Yeah,
you talking? Well, that's my mindset. But
of
people
course.
hate on me and my content all the time, saying I'm fear mongering and doom and gloom. It's like, oh no, I'm just here to wake y'all up. Wake up.
And it's hard to, like, you can't persuade any of the people that are really that extreme in that sense because they've probably never left the US. I think the percentage is like 30% of Americans have passports, something like this. I don't know if there's an updated stat, but I saw that I think last year. But I can't imagine that it's shifted too much from last year. But it's just opening your mind to like other possibilities. And again, there's things that are being passed right now that Republicans as well as Democrats are super against about like people's Medicare being taken away. I've worked with I work with everybody, but I've even had Republicans who were 75 years old living in Florida who had $2,700 Social Security check and had to continue to work. He was a writer and he got laid off because he was like, he was older and he was probably not as quick, but they laid him off. And he was really not in a good place because he had just lost his wife. And so I helped him move to Panama where he could cut his costs from living, I forgot the town he lived in Florida. But yeah, so like there's so many, even my grandma, she lives in Phoenix. She is tapping into her savings right now because the Social Security checks aren't covering everything. And she lives with my aunt. So she has a room in my aunt's house. She has to pay her car. She got to pay her insurance. Medicare B now takes a lot more. So everybody needs to think about when you're going to retire. Because at this rate, your Social Security check, first of all, might not even be there. And second of all, might not even cover what you need to survive. Like, I'm already feeling tired and I'm in my 30s. Like, and I already have this neck injury. Like, can we just fast forward to when you're like 70 or 80? I don't want to be on my computer. Sorry, I love helping all of you, but I'm not trying to be on my computer past 45.
Yeah.
And that's why I moved to Europe. That's why I chose Spain and Europe. France is also pretty, I mean, it can be very economical. I lived in Normandy and it wasn't that much different than living in Spain. Groceries were like a little bit more expensive, but I was super happy about the grocery shift because I love the little French goodies. The sun-dried tomatoes at the Lidl versus Spain, they don't have the sun-dried tomatoes. Ah,
I love it so much. I know. And it's like, even just like daily cost of living, like everything from like the walkability, transportation. I don't know if you have a car, but like I walk everywhere, I bike everywhere. Groceries are cheaper. Cost of living, the health, like the peace of mind with the healthcare and health insurance, disability insurance, like right, all these things. And, you know, I gotta say, just looking at the astrology, I've been preparing for this year since 2022 when I saw these transits of right now what's happening. Uranus about to enter Gemini for the United States, Jupiter in Cancer. This is the age right now to relocate or to just ask yourself, like, what do I need in a home? What do I need in my life to sustain me and support me and nourish me? This is the question on everyone's mind for the next year, because just looking to see what's happening to the United States chart, it looks a mess. And so I'm telling people, if you want to go abroad, let's get a game plan in motion. I made a video 2 years ago on YouTube, kind of just telling people, warning people, if you want to move abroad, now's the time to start looking at visas, looking at options to prepare for this. And now people are doing it and actually like taking action because things are now starting to play out. So one of the questions I have, because here's the thing, Spain looks very good astrologically. I've been telling people, look into Spain, look into Portugal, because astrologically it looks good on the map for Europe. What I'm predicting, though, is that countries are going to start getting very selective and kind of discerning about who gets in and who doesn't going forward, because Saturn. I
think this too, and that's what I'm telling everybody in the reels. I'm like, the golden visas have already gone away. We're already seeing Portugal is like voting to double the residency time before citizenship. So it's going to now be 10 years instead of 5. And that was a big pro for Portugal and why everybody wants to move there. But yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it just started March of 2025 this year. Saturn and Neptune entered Aries at the 0 degree world point. And when planets like huge outer planets like Saturn and Neptune, when they hit a world point, which is 0 degrees of a cardinal sign, it indicates massive world changes. And
Okay.
these lines are going right through Paris, and then they're going to be moving for the next several years through going toward Eastern Europe. So Paris and then going east. So it's going to
Wow.
go through Italy. It's going to go through Switzerland. It's going to go through Germany, the Netherlands. It's then going to make its way over to Austria and Czech Republic. It's going to slowly start making its way, this ingress. But it started March of this year. And that was literally when we started seeing immigration crackdowns in all of the world, like really, but especially Europe. And this is also happening in the United States through the Midwest. So it's going right through Chicago, down through the Midwest, and then down through like Louisiana area. But it's
Yeah.
like this East Coast, Florida, all these places, it's going to be moving through this area. This is all about like crackdown on immigration. And so I am telling people, like, listen, if you want to move, look into it now, because I think we're going to start seeing more countries in Europe kind of shutting down or like creating more restrictions or boundaries around how to get in.
Right. I agree. I totally agree because I can even tell you just like from my clients. So I do Slack coaching where it's basically like 6 months of unlimited support to ask me any move abroad question. And most of the questions, like two, are a big portion of them are related to the visas and like figuring out their unique strategy. So we'll voice back and forth like all the time until your appointment, until you're approved. But some of my people that just were at the Spain LA consulate, for example, they're now saying it's 8 to 12 weeks until they tell you the result of your application. So approved or denied, right? Before it was 2 weeks. Like I'm literally talking about in February, March, it was like a 2 week turnaround. I even had some clients that were getting approved in like 11 or 12 days. Okay. They're so backed up that it's 8 to 12 weeks. And I can only assume that the other Spain consulates are also backed up. I have other people applying in the next couple of days, so we're going to like check in and see. But the last 2 months have been really intense where people have been getting their ish together and applying, right? So I think that's why we're seeing the delays in the approval process. So it's like you could even apply right now and you're not going to know for what is that, 3 months? That's a long time. So, Portugal as well. Like I love Portugal too. It's a great place, just as you're saying. And that's so funny that you're mentioning these lines because most of my focus and most people that come to me want to do Spain or Portugal. And I push those a lot because of the ease of the visas, but also because of the lifestyle. It's very progressive, LGBTQIA plus friendly, like, and I really like those types of countries. For example, Italy is not okay with, I mean, gay marriage is not legal. So, you know, but Italy, yeah, you can't, nope. It's very Catholic. So, yeah. So these are other things we have to look at too, is like, but they're cracking down, like you saying, don't keep pushing it off. I have some people that have gone into my academy who, because they can put their coaching on layaway for when they want to move. But I do have people that are like, oh, I don't want to move for 5 more years. And I do preface like hardcore, even though they sign up and they're very welcome, 5 years might be too long. Like I tell them that. I say, I can't guarantee that these visas are going to be around. Like there's so many people applying. And the Portuguese are getting upset that the rents are going up. The Spanish people are also getting annoyed that the rents are going up because of expats. And well, it's tourism and expats. It's kind of like a little combo. So a lot of these countries are cracking down on the Airbnb problem, which I think is good because I do feel for the locals.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then hopefully, the expats can have some sort of like buffer.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, do it now, guys.
Do it now.
Citizenship by descent things are closing. Like if you had Spain ancestry, that is closing in October of 2025. I have so many people that are coming in from my master class to join the academy just to do the Spain citizenship.
Wow.
Because I know exactly what you guys should do. I have some people that have like Cuban descent, but they need to get some documents in Cuba in order to apply for this Spain citizenship. And they're doing all that right now because we only got a couple months now.
What is the timeline for this? Let's say someone listening today wanted to start the process, meet with Shauna. Do you do one-on-one private coaching or like private work where you work with people individually?
I don't do the one-on-ones anymore because it's way too much. That's why I started Slack. So they get into my Move Overseas Now Academy and they get 6 months of Slack support. Slack is like a communication tool. We can do voice, we can do text. Okay. You can have it on your desktop, you can have it on your phone. That is so much better than imagine sending emails back and forth. Like that's old school.
No,
This is quick and this is like we are with each other. So I actually find it better than one-on-one because I was doing one-on-ones for a while and you just can't get all your questions in an hour session. And for the price I have the academy at, it's like it's kind of like a no-brainer to like do the 6 months of coaching. And why I have it at 6 months is because it approximately takes 6 months to move abroad. Like some people plan it out a year in advance, which is totally cool too. Some do a year and a half. But to actually go from like, all right, my lease is over. Let's say it's right now, it's July, right? My lease is over in January. Perfect. I can now start. I'm going to look for an appointment. I'm going to start gathering my documents. I'm going to start getting my FBI background check, the apostilles, the official translation, my health insurance. I'm going to start getting all that together so that for my consulate appointment, which is going to be in 3 months from now, I'm going to have everything. And then while I'm waiting for the approval, all the rest of my other stuff is going to be taken care of. Like I'm purging all my things. The most emotional part about the move abroad is getting rid of your stuff, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's very stressful. It's very emotional. You know, I haven't even gotten rid of all my dad's stuff. And I still have it in my storage unit. Some of his things that I need to go through. I got rid of mostly everything. But that's the one I still need to go back and go through some of those things in LA. But it's really hard. And so having that support of like, everybody's going through this struggle. And it's not like this is so easy. This is a very stressful process.
It's emotional. It's, you know, it connects to your past, your heart, everything that you feel like you belong to.
But it's an important process that you guys go through is purging your things because you're releasing the connection, the attachment to material goods, which is what we've always kind of like been raised on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little spiritual journey in itself, which is hard. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off, but you have to do it. Yeah. So, you know, the move abroad process in general is really, it's not easy and it is very stressful. Now, some people maybe have other tools that can help them through the panics and not being able to get an appointment. Oh my God, what do I do? I've been looking for a week. I can't find an appointment at the consulate. You start to panic. Right. So that's why it's good to have like support. It's good to be connected to people like myself, like Helena, because we're here to like calm you guys down, point you in the right direction and be like, everything is going to be okay. Keep doing this because it's lonely. Even if you are doing it with a spouse, it's can feel like you guys are like doing something that nobody understands, you know?
Yeah. What would you say to someone? One of the biggest things I always get when people who are ready to move abroad, but they'll use one of these two excuses. They'll say, I need to stay with my family, or I feel like an obligation to stay with my aging parents, even though I can tell in the call that they're unhappy, they're resentful. They're not in a place in their life where they want to be doing this, but they do it anyway, even though they know in their soul they want to move abroad and do it now. And then there's also people who say, I can't leave my grandchildren. This is something I hear all the time. The biggest reason that people, too. I can't leave my grandchildren. I have very strong opinions on this, but I don't want to annoy people. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated issue because obviously it really is relative to what this person's case is. Like, for example, my dad was dying of stage 4 lung cancer. He had a month to live. Oh, you bet I was
Oh,
back in
yeah.
the US,
Of
like with
course.
him. So it's all levels of like, what are we talking about? I have a client who she's in the Move Overseas Now Academy. She has an aunt and a mother who has Alzheimer's and dementia, and she is the caretaker. Okay. So those diseases are more slow, right? Like they're many, many years. So, of course, we're not saying go leave them by
No.
themselves because,
Yeah.
especially in the US, you can't. Like, to pay for a caretaker, I mean, even a nurse to come for a couple hours a day, if you had to pay out of pocket, it'd be like $4,000 a month
Oh my God.
minimum, right? Just to like check vitals, see what they're, take their medicine, maybe just like give you a break. So there's no way she can leave them, right? And I totally get that. So what she's doing is she's going to, because she's like their caretaker and they do have Social Security, they're going to apply for their visas and they're going to move altogether. In some countries, if you're the financial, you're responsible for them financially, even like older children that are in college that want to move with the parents, as long as you can display on paper that you pay for them and that they are financially dependent of you, I'm pretty sure this would mean that they wouldn't have their own Social Security. Then you can actually bring them with you on your application, even elderly parents. But most people do have Social Security, so I don't think it would work for most people, but they could just do their own application and they go with you to the consulate appointment. They would just be separate applications. So that's like one thing I feel is just bring them with you, especially if they are, you are their sole person. Like it's then your decision. Now, if they are totally independent and they are capable, I also have the feeling of like, you don't have to bring them with you. If they really ask them, hey, I want to be around you, but this is not the place. Like, can you guys come with me? And if they say no, after you trying to persuade them, then maybe the best choice is you going to Europe and visiting them 2, 3 times a year. Because what I noticed when I moved to Europe, I got closer to my parents. We actually talked more. We were FaceTiming every day. The bond got even closer. When I was living like down, 10 minutes from my mom and my stepdad, Eric, I barely saw them and we didn't have these same conversations. There was a deeper connection when the move abroad happened. And I think that that's something that you will realize. The other thing is Europe takes more vacation. So people are off in August. You can go the whole month of August just because even if you don't have a job, I did have a job that let me off and they paid for me to get a month off in August, which was badass. But I would go back to LA for the whole month of August. I mean, when you're going and visiting your parents every couple weeks, maybe for a couple hours, that probably wouldn't even add up to a whole month in August, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the year, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would. I don't know. Do that math, but it probably would be either the same or I think the month of August would be more. And you'd be staying at their house. So you'd be with them like 24/7. So that's like one aspect to think about. And then you can, if you have a remote job, you can go back whenever you want.
Yeah.
And really have that freedom to like spend time with them, not just like a couple hours here. Oh, we're going to go and take them out to lunch just like in like 3 weeks. I know those meetings are nice to have consistently, but it's going to be more special when you see them for like long periods of time. Yeah. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. And same thing goes to grandchildren then. And they will come visit you too. That's the other thing is you've got a double whammy here. People are more now serious about coming to visit you because they want to see you abroad,
Oh yeah. I know it was same for me and my husband and our families. Like I got closer to my mom being overseas. My mom, when we live in the same town, we fight. It's a very complicated, hard relationship.
Me too.
Yeah. But when being abroad, it's like we're closer having distance. And same with my husband and his family and his relationship to them. When he's in the same town as them, it's like he's not, I mean, it's not that he's not excited to see them, but it's like, it's just kind of the same. But
Yeah.
now they come to us, we come to them, we travel back and forth to see them. And there's also, he calls them every week on the phone. And
Yeah.
there's a closer relationship. And I think that's one of the biggest things is people think that you're going to grow further apart
Right.
by being away, but that doesn't mean that will happen.
Right.
And I think also just knowing your values and your priorities for some people that really want to be close to family, figure out how you can bring your family with you. I'm trying to do that with my mom because my
Yeah.
mom's got like 2 more years of work and she wants to move to Spain. And so I want to help her begin the process. So yeah, I'm going to get into your program. I'm excited to join your Slack program and everything because I need the support from my mom and my citizenship by descent as well. So where can people find you? How can people work with you? What's the first step for anyone listening who's like, they just got all this information. They're like, okay, I'm so excited to start preparing and planning. What's the first step that they can do?
Yeah. Well, obviously being here, guys, I think that you've done a great job if you've made it this far because you're being resourceful. And that's what I always say is like, cheers to you for being resourceful because don't do this from zero. Like, don't try to start learning how to move abroad from zero because there are people that have done this. I mean, Helena, she's lived in France for all these years. Like, we know what we're talking about. And so just try to get support and try to learn from somebody. That's like the first thing I would recommend. And then, yeah, you can find me on Instagram, but I would invite you to come to my free Abroad in a Year masterclass if you guys would like. You can join the next one. And I talk about citizenship. I talk about all the different visas. I talk about different strategies so that you can make that move abroad in under a year. But I have people doing it in like 6 months. 3 months is a little pushing it because some of the documents take like 3 months to get. So it's more realistic, like 6 months to a year for your timeline. And obviously, if you want to directly just enroll in the Move Overseas Now Academy, I can also give you a link for that and maybe do like a special deal for anybody listening. So put that in the
Yes.
description.
Yes.
I'll throw in the 6 months of coaching included. You'll get 135 video modules. And a lot of those do go over the 10 different countries with 4 visas in each, step-by-step, how to get these visas, how to go to the consulate. I share my screen, show you everything. They come with country-specific guides as well for these visas. And then, of course, it's the whole other program, which has housing, rentals. We talk finances, taxes. We talk remote work and finding that job online. We talk building your business. I say we, it's just me. I have a couple guest experts that have come on though for like tax related stuff, which because I'm not a tax expert. So I've got my people talking about that in there. But and then I have like how to teach English. I have all the things in there. I have things that will show you how to get like the don't pay $1,000 to an American English certification company. Go with the one I recommend in the course because that one's 100 and it comes from a UK or Irish company and it's the same thing.
Wow.
So it really kind of like shows you the capitalism that we have in the US.
Yeah.
Things are so much cheaper abroad and it doesn't have to be super expensive. So
I know.
I hope to see you guys on the masterclass and or inside the academy. And you can start the coaching whenever you want. So you just have to hit reply when you sign up and let me know if you want to get in right now or if you want to put it on layaway.
Cool. And what are the 10 countries that you specialize in again?
Oh, yeah. So Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, the Netherlands, Malta, even though I don't really push Malta too much because of that residency and they kick you out issue with the digital nomad visa, but I still have it in there because it's a good option if people just don't really care about that. And then for Latin America, it's Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, Colombia.
Cool. And I even know like Albania and Georgia. I have a friend that just moved to Georgia. Beautiful city. Tbilisi in Georgia is amazing. A lot of people don't know. Yeah, I spent a week there earlier this winter. Loved the city. People are so nice there. And you could move there tomorrow as an American and stay there a year.
That's true.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's another route that people can do. You can also go to Andorra as well.
Wow.
those are great routes for just like something that people want to get out quick.
Yeah, get
The
out
only
quick.
thing
Yeah.
is it's not going to be getting you the EU residency and
Right.
citizenship. So that's why I don't focus on those. But those are
Yeah.
great options for people that are like, I need to go right now.
Yeah. I need to
The only
GTFO. Those are the places.
the only problem with doing that is if you do then want to pivot to one of the countries I just said, or like even Germany or any of the EU countries, you have to come back to the US to go to the consulate to do the visas.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're trying to get out of the US, but you're not really going to permanently be out of the US because
Right.
you've got to go to your consulate to do that visa application. So at some point, you're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it complicated because if you do go to those countries, when you do that, let's say you were in one of those countries for a year, and then you're like, oh, well, I want to do the Spain non-lucrative visa now. You have to get a background check from all the countries that you've lived in the past 5 years. And if you just did that stint in Albania, you're going to now have to get a background check from Albania. You're going to have to get a background check from the US.
Oh.
And it's going to be like a little weird.
Complicated.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they could do it, though, in Albania. I've never had a case where people did that. Maybe because if they could show that they're a resident of Albania, they can maybe do it through the Spanish consulate there.
Maybe. Yeah.
This is one of those cases where the coaching would be good because then we would like dive into it, figure it out. But that's the only concern I have about that. It's not a very like future-proof strategy. You know what I mean? It's a good, like, I agree with what you're saying. Get out quick. Boom, let's do it. But like,
yeah,
you have to think about the future as well.
Yeah, I know. And it's one of the things I'm looking at in the astrology is like the US is entering war. Like it's literally in 1 week on July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini, which is always a huge major world war kind of thing that's involving the US specifically. So the first time was the American Revolutionary War, the second time was Civil War, and then the third time was World War II when the US got involved in the conflict. Was World War II was when Uranus entered Gemini. So like these next 7 years are kind of crazy, and it's specifically really hard in the summer of 2026. So like people who are just like, I don't know if I want to live in DC or New York City the summer of 26, maybe you want to plan a vacation in, Malta or whatever, and this isn't a fearmonger or anything, but just thinking about like, the US will be involved in conflict and thinking of backup plans. Like, where do we want to be this summer of 26? Where do we want to be spending our time? It's like, start planning now for like a visa if you want to spend a month over there,
Yes.
But the positive side of this is like travel industries are going to go through amazing technological shifts. Innovations with technology. It's like we're in the Industrial Revolution 2.0. This is such an exciting time to be alive. Literally 2031, no, not 2031, 2033, we're going to get out of this transit. It's going to be a new world. It's going to be like Tomorrowland. It's going to be a completely different landscape. Complete industries are going to go through changes. Our jobs will be different. The children that are being born right now, the babies being birthed right now, their careers have not even been invented yet. This is such an exciting time to be alive. And so there's pluses and beautiful sides of this too, but I think cars, travel, airplanes, the airplane industry, everything's going to go through changes, and it's exciting to be alive on this planet to witness it. So much to look forward to. So I'm going to include all the links down below in the description, in the YouTube description, the show notes, that you guys can join that masterclass with Shauna, join the program. I'm going to be joining the program too, and help my mom get over here and get citizenship by descent as well. So thanks again. Anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
Just keep at it, like one step at a time. Don't like clump everything together. Just do one little thing at a time. Put in that 30 minutes, an hour a day to work on the move abroad. And pat yourself on the back when you do a good job. And when you complete that 30 minutes planning session, do those every single day, and you're going to get far, And then the other thing about citizenship by descent, if your great grandparent doesn't qualify, if your parent is still alive, then they can apply and then maybe pass it down to you. So even in your case, since your mom is still alive, she could do it probably through her grandparent. And even if it was her great grandparent, then maybe that's the link you needed to get it to you. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I got to get on this now.
I know. It's so exciting when you do it.
Yes.
I'm like You don't know how excited I am to be an EU citizen. Like, I'm going to cry. I've already cried. I brought the consulate flowers and everything when I turned in my application.
Oh my God.
And it helped. It sped up the process.
So you have a second passport. You have an EU passport for what country?
Not yet. Czech Republic. It's in the process.
In the process. Amazing. My husband just applied for French citizenship. He's probably going to get it this or next year. But it's like, now we're thinking about me. Like, what am I going to do? You know? So that's now the next focus. We wanted to focus on him first, get that secured. And then,
You don't really have to worry, because if your partner has a EU passport, you can get a family reunification visa in whatever EU country possible.
Cool.
And so then you can just start residency there.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Very nice. Amazing.
You don't have to worry about that. As long as your partner has the EU passport, to be honest, it doesn't really matter that you have the EU passport. Just start building your residency in one same country, because you need consistent residency in one country in order to apply for a citizenship later.
Okay, cool. Oh, thank you for coming on, Shauna. You're so inspiring. Everyone go follow Shauna on Instagram. Seriously, so inspired by you, all the content. You have inspired me to like make Instagram easy. I don't know if I ever told you this, but like literally a year ago when I found your Instagram, it was like, wow, she looks like she's having so much fun, and she's just showing up, clicking record, and is sharing her thoughts as the news breaks. And I'm so inspired by you. You're such an expander for me. You've inspired my journey on Instagram so much.
Thank you. The trick is to not try too hard and don't be a perfectionist.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have a neck injury, so I can't be on my phone holding it up, critiquing, oh my gosh, my hair was popping out. Yeah. No. I record it, even if I'm in excruciating pain for my neck or whatever. I'm going to lay down with my ice pack on my neck and record the reel.
Oh my god.
Because that reel needs to go out.
Yes.
So that's kind of my motto. It's just like, show up as you are.
Yeah.
And don't worry what people think.
You're so inspired. I literally have had moments like when I'm about to create, and I literally have moments where I think, what would Shauna do? I'm so effing serious. Yes. Like there have been moments where I've been like afraid to post a thought on something about like why you should move abroad. And I'm like, wait a second, what would Shauna do? She wouldn't be afraid of this. I'm just going to post. And so you've inspired me more than you realize. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on.
Yes, so honored. Oh, so excited for everyone to find you and find your account and everything.
Thank you. Well, I'll see all of you guys soon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Amazing.